thank you for coming today. I know we've been talking a little bit before this. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
My name's Ryan Ray,
Where you work?
Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.
You have a team?
I do have a team.
Tell me about your team.
My team consists of my partner, Sandy Toulouse. Then also we have Brad Tumulty, Ernie Leopold, and Adam Butchko. And then we have an admin that's kind of behind the scenes. Her name's Brandy Saraki. She's kind of like the glue that holds everything together.
And Brad was supposed to be here with us, right?
Yes, Brad was supposed to be here with us today.
Does he have a good excuse not to be here?
He always has a good excuse.
So you've heard...
He's probably at the gym.
I was like, did the dog eat the homework or something like that with Brad? Like, where is he?
He's actually having some dog problems right
Okay,
now.
all right. So we're going to give him a pass this time.
Yes, we should definitely give him a pass, no doubt.
And do you know why I asked actually to have you and Brad on together?
I can only imagine why.
Well, why do you think? And you tell me if I'm wrong.
Because he's like my little brother. That's why he.
Oh my God! You just said it.
Yeah,
you just said it. Like
I like two brothers going at it. Is that why you like the conflict? Is that what you like?
No, no. I think you and I are somewhat similar. Okay, and I mean similar in different ways. Like, don't take this the wrong way, because I'm saying this about myself. We're both jumpy.
Yep. Like
junkyard dogs. Rippies. You know what I mean? Like people just want to... We're that dog that's on your leg that you want to kick off. Brad is not like that. Brad is a laid back guy.
He is. He is.
He's laid back, and I like the two of you together because he's calm. And I think I'm attracted to that, and I think that's attracted you. And I was going to say, I look at you, oh God, as either a father figure,
oh boy,
or a big brother to him. And I think he looks back at you the same way. So I think it's hilarious. And the other good thing too is he makes fun of you, you crush him, but he makes fun of you to me, and we make fun of each other, and no one's butthurt about it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's all good.
Yeah, he's definitely calming, that's for sure. He definitely a lot more laid back.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's like a good counterbalance. So it's actually good. You know what I mean? I actually trained him when he first started in the business. And when we started our team, when Sandy and I started our team,
yeah,
I kind of like had to hand pick, because I trained, probably 40, 50 agents when I first started at Berkshire Hathaway. That's what they kind of brought me in to do, and they let me sell real estate. But Brad was one of the guys that I trained. So when we started my team, Sandy's like, well, like, who do you think we should? And I said, well, I think we should hire him. And then the other one was Abby Margot, who actually worked there. Now she's on to better things. She was with us when we started too. But Brad actually was we kind of handpicked him from the beginning. He's an original, you know what I mean? Yeah. He's the one that when we started our team, he was the original person that became part of our team. So it's actually...
Yeah, and so I think it's good to have, you can't all have all the same personalities on a team. And I think your team is very diverse when it comes to those. You got all, so, hey, all right, I'll say it about myself. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So, like, not everybody's everyone's cup of tea. So it seems like you guys do a good balance. Tell me a little about Sandy too. We don't want to leave her out, and we don't want to leave Adam out, or
Yeah. So Sandy, she's been in. So Sandy, what happened with Sandy and I? She's been in business for over 30 years. I looked at when I started in 1996. So I'm going on my 28th year.
We started the same year.
Yeah. So I've been licensed since 1996. Sandy's been in business over 30 years. And what happened is her and I sat across from each other at our own office. So we always kind of did the same amount of volume.
Yes.
So what happened was when things were slow, what happened is I would say, hey, Sandy, what are you doing? Like, what's working for you? What's not working for you? And she kind of did the same thing with me. And then what happened was when at the time that was Prudential. And then, so Prudential. And then Mr. Hozak from Northwood bought out, the franchise from Mr. Crashire. And then what happened was that we kind of merged this is back in 2019. We kind of merged, went to Berkshire Hathaway, and then Sandy was like, well, if we're going to do a team, now's the time to do it. So
who approached who?
Well, I really didn't really.
Somebody had to.
I don't remember who approached her. I think we just kind of said, I mean, we should probably do a team. If we're gonna do a team, we've been talking about for 2 or 3 years prior to us doing it.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of it was an evolving thing, if you will.
All right.
And I don't remember who approached too. I'll have to ask her that. But it just kind of came about. I mean, we talked about it. You know what I mean? And then when the time came, we said, listen, if we're going to do this, now's the time to do it. So that's what we did. It was back in 2019. Like I said, that's when we had, hired Brad. And then when we formed a team, Brad was one of the original people. And then we brought on Ernie Leopold. Ernie's, he was a senior agent.
Okay.
He's got a lot of good connections down in the Findlay Township, West Allegheny area. He was part of zoning. He's good with, land development. He actually just got his senior designation to work with seniors. So he's doing right now, his goal this year is to go talk to different seniors. They actually just put a nice brochure together of like vendors and, just talking to seniors and trying to capture that market, if you will. So he's kind of trying to specialize in that. Then Adam's one of our newer team members.
I know his wife. She works at his wife, Dawn.
Yes,
she works,
Dawn, yep.
She is the manager at FNB, and I go to FNB a million times a day, so I see Dawn almost every single day.
All right.
And so
you
that's
got the
how
scoop on Adam.
got
the scoop on Adam.
But let other people know about Adam.
Yeah, Adam was at Swickley BMW, is where he in the service department. Decided to get into the real estate field. I'm friends with him.
Yep.
I said, we're looking for people, so he decided to join our team, and he's doing pretty well. He, the first couple years in the business is always tough, but he's got some stuff going on. He kind of focuses. He lives in the Center Township area, so he does a lot of things out that way.
Get you guys to come reaching this way even more.
Because I kind of do a lot of the stuff in Beaver County too. But he's doing well, so I think he likes it. He's just starting out. He's in his second year with us. But he's doing well also. And then our administrator, her name's Brandy Saraki. She came to us about 2.5 years ago, and she's really good with keeping us on track with our marketing, getting our pieces out behind the scenes, making dotting I's and crossing T's with all our paperwork, our follow-up systems with our people, our checklist of our time frames, that kind of stuff. She's like I said in the beginning, she's kind of like the glue that holds everything together. Me and Sandy kind of like, as you know, going in different directions at all times. So,
but it's good because you're different people.
Yeah.
But it's all the same. Do you mind if I ask you some team questions?
Go ahead.
And
hopefully I can answer them.
Well, I actually just had a meeting the other day with an agent that has jumped around to a few different companies, and doesn't know how to build a team.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that you're going to. I'm not asking you to give out the secret sauce or anything like that. But there's a lot of agents right now trying to figure out their identity, I think.
Right.
And like, and you and I were having some conversations before this, and is this year going to suck? Is this year going to be good? We don't know. Right. Yes, we have to tote the line. Yeah, this is going to be a really great year, but we all hear that and we have to project that to people. But you and I we could have doubts in the back of our mind that's that weight that's on us.
Right.
But we have to tell everybody, everything's okay. Everything's okay. So there's agents out there, and I'm telling you everything's going to be good because you guys, you got your blocks all put together.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't sound like people are trying to find out who they are or whatnot, but some of these agents don't know how to do a team. How often do you guys meet? Is somebody really in charge? I mean, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but how the heck do you do this? Because it's a company within a company. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, so the answer to your question is we do meet. We try to meet. We have sales meetings, like company sales meetings, every other week. So we try to meet on the opposite days of the sales meeting. So we try to at least meet twice a month.
Okay.
We, as far as anybody in charge, Sandy and I are we are the team leads of it. I kind of handle, there's different aspects that Sandy's better at than I'm at. So she's kind of like the marketing person, getting out the marketing pieces, trying to figure out what we're doing marketing wise. I'm more like the numbers person, trying to figure out how we're going to get to the number that we're trying to achieve for the year. Trying to come up with different ways.
Can I ask your biggest year? What have you guys done on your biggest year so far?
The biggest year we've done so far was actually I think it was the second year we're in business. It was 33 million. I forget what year it was.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was and I kept telling everybody, listen, that was a one of a kind year.
Good.
Yeah, and I think that was 2020. It was right after COVID. We started our team actually in 2019, and then COVID hit. So so our timing was impeccable. We were meeting in, we were meeting in PJs, trying to stay there like, what are we going to do now? You know what I mean? So actually 2019 was a really good year. And then the following year, 2020 is when we did the 33.
I think that's really when you got your focus. I'm being honest with you. Like you really, because you were in that, hey, I'm training people or whatever, and it's like, boom, you jump 2 feet in, and you're like, I don't lose.
Yeah.
You're a you obviously are competitive.
Yeah, I don't like to lose very much. Sandy's as bad as me, if not worse than me in competitive wise, and we're always looking at numbers, where we're at, what we're doing, trying to figure out where we're going. So it's a map. You gotta, it's you create the map and you try to follow the map and follow it to try to get there. The problem is that you get busy, right? And this is why I started a team. So this is why I started a team. So what happens is you get busy and you're focused on the deals that you're doing, right? Because that's what's going to put money in your pocket.
Yep.
Then you forget about your mailings. You forget about, hey, I didn't follow up with that customer. Hey, they moved in 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? I should.
But you're being honest about this. A lot of people aren't honest about that.
Well, it's just the truth.
You got to be, right?
You speak from the truth. So you get away from doing the things that get you the business and fill the pipeline. So
that got you there.
That got me there. So
yeah,
because you're busy, dealing with inspections, dealing with the other day someone had their electric cut out because the buyer forgot to transfer it into electric, so there was an interruption. So you're just dealing with stuff all the time, and you're going to deal with that stuff because that's what puts money in your pocket. But then you forget about the other stuff is the why you have the business. So the importance of the team. Is while you're focusing on that stuff, they're still doing the stuffs behind the scenes to get the business.
So everybody, what you're saying is there's definitely some delegations. You guys are holding each other responsible to a certain degree,
right?
And because you're busy running around, somebody's handling and marketing right now. Like you and I, there's probably been the biggest technology changes.
Well, that's the big,
Like, we're getting old.
Well, that's the thing. You have, you know what I mean? So it's not only newspaper and magazines. Do you
remember when that MLS book would come and it was a big book and that's what you look through?
Yep, I remember those days when the MLS book came out. You looked through. That was a long time ago. That was when my dad was in the business a long time ago.
Yeah, I
remember looking through his book actually when I first got in the business. But yes, things have changed. I mean, so now you have obviously, you know what I mean. So there's paper, there's paper advertising. Then you have the mailings. Then you have internet, social media.
Yeah,
there's just so many different entities that you can get business from.
Yeah,
so it's a balance. It's trying to have a balance of it all, and that's kind of the difficult part.
I remember when print advertising, you had to spend a ton of money on it back in the day. Like those magazines that you could get free places. The newspaper, let alone. Remember,
the back page
you were worried about where you were positioned in the newspaper. We don't even worry about those things. We don't think about some of those things anymore. I don't know are we going to go back? I don't really know.
Well, we do some of it. Like we're in the Allegheny West. I think the Allegheny West magazine where we're in there. So we do some of that. We, like I said, we try to dabble in everything.
Yeah.
To keep everything not in one direction, if you will.
Not all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, good way of putting it. So that's so we try to diversify.
Yeah.
Everything. So print advertising, internet advertising, mailings, direct mailings,
Yeah.
phone calls, work in your sphere. So we try to work all the avenues, and we don't try to specialize in one thing. We try to be good at everything, but at the same time, it's very difficult because there's so many avenues you can
There
go.
are. When you're talking about advertising and marketing.
That's
Yes,
correct.
That's right. I mean,
Yeah, so that's the difficult. It's a balance. So you got to try to figure that balance out.
and isn't it interesting? Like, I know when, like for instance, probably 8 years ago, I was doing acquiring real estate, and we were making rentals and whatnot. And one of my partners at the time was my age. Okay, I'm 50. You're
53 Monday.
Monday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
But we were like, okay, the cable line needs to go here, and we'd make a big deal about where the cable line would go and everything. And I remember we had a young professional, and he's smiling at me. I'm showing him the unit. I'm not a real estate agent,
Yeah.
but I'm showing him the unit, and he giggles to me, and then he starts explaining to me about this streaming. I go, what? And I blow it off. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because we came from the world of, no, this was on at 8 o'clock. Remember? Hey, remember Knight Rider's coming on at 8
Right,
o'clock
yeah,
or whatever, maybe, and they're a world of, what are you talking about? And if you really think it, we have like some problem, because it's not like that TV show was live most of the time. It was just a recording when they aired it.
Right.
And they view everything as like what's on the shelf. I just take and I consume when I want to consume it. And boy, I was like slow to the gun about like understanding that. But once I'm seeing this, I'm like, wow, I need to start seeing how other people digest things, not just how I do it. So you
Right.
have another thing about your team. You have the age ranges. You have the younger guy.
Yeah.
And he views world a little different than we do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you have different opinions and different everything. You know what I mean? Strength in numbers, is another reason. When we go on listing appointments, it's Sandy and I, and then, if Adam or Brad or Ernie, if they can bring us, either Sandy and I on those appointments. And I always say, hey, who's going to be better for the listing appointment?
Right.
You know what I mean? Is it going to be Sandy or me? It all just depends.
So it's a calculated thing.
Yeah, it's a calculated thing. You got to read the room, right? It's about reading the room and reading your customers, because everyone's different and how they look at things and how they analyze things. And
I'm told that all the time by
Yeah.
my wife. I don't read the room.
yeah, well, I can see you read the room. I think you read the room pretty well, Craig.
Yeah, maybe
I disagree with her.
Yeah.
You can tell, right? You can tell Angie I said that.
Oh, she's gonna hear this right now. I
Oh,
mean,
sure.
Maybe I read the room. Maybe I'm always looking for a reaction that most people wouldn't want that reaction. Maybe that's possible.
That could be true too. I could see that.
That's possibly it. Well, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, another thing that I admire about you, I like about you, and I think you and I are similar on this. We both have sons that are, your son's a year older than my son.
Right.
They play the same sports, so we have been in places where they've played against each other.
Yeah.
The schools are played against each other. And I think our sons may think this. I think we treat our kids very similar, to the fact that probably ridiculing. Like, our sons we don't tell them that they're the best all the time.
No.
But I think there's no doubt about it that you and I both will do things for our kids, like, that sometimes is above and beyond. Like, it's crazy. Like, when I saw you had that basketball, that court in your backyard, I'm like, that is over the freaking top. That is awesome. You know what I mean? But I think you and I both push our kids in the same way. It's like, you're not always going to get a compliment from us.
Yeah, I try to with my kids. I just try to push them to, to do things on their own, not always rely on people, and practices, to go out and work on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I did. I played soccer at the collegiate level.
And where did you play soccer at?
I played at. I graduated from Mount St. Mary's, which is a little small Division I school down in Emmitsburg, Maryland, which is right over right by Gettysburg. So Gettysburg, and then Emmitsburg, Maryland is the next. As soon as you get into Maryland, that's where it's at.
Know it well.
Do you?
No, well, because I played collegiate tennis at Robert Morris.
Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me. Okay.
And we played. That
Same
was the
conference.
NEC.
Yeah,
NEC conference
yeah,
back
so I
then.
was
God
in-
knows what it is now.
Yeah, I think it may be still the Northeast Conference.
Robert Morris might not be in it anymore.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know
not
if Robert,
sure.
but Robert Morris was in it obviously when I was there, and
We would play our conference tournament was at your place.
yes.
Every single year we would
Yeah.
go to Mount St. Mary's, so I'm very familiar with it. Yeah. So you know, we found Division I schools that were just the right size that we got to participate in, and obviously you had some work ethic to be able to get there and be competitive.
Right. So that's why I try, tell my kids, I mean, it's just not about practice. When you have called practices by the coach, I mean, you have to do things outside of practice if you want to take it to the next level. So, I mean, so that's what I try to instill in them, unfortunately, they're both pretty good athletes. I mean, they've done well in things.
Saw your daughter dribbling a ball on Facebook.
She
Looks
does.
pretty good.
Looks pretty good. Whole volleyball thing now. That's a whole different. It's one thing I never really grew up watching her playing. So that's been pretty actually.
It's exciting, actually.
Yeah, actually, really exciting. So,
yeah.
So she's into that now. He actually just decided he's going out for track this year, so he'll be doing track. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so it's trying to push him and and take it to the next level. You gotta work for it. Nothing's handed to you.
You do, but and tell me if I'm wrong. You can't make somebody want to do something.
That's correct.
All right, so I have a daughter and a son. They are different people.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I want to be able to provide the atmosphere that if you want to pursue something, go pursue it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to be the one telling you to go do it. We go watch the games, but if you don't want to just do it on your own, just get what you get in, you get out what you get put in.
Yep, just like anything.
So it's not upsetting to me. I don't know if it's upsetting to you. Like if one of my kids wanted to go play something and they don't really practice or something like that, I love to go watch. I love going to watch or whatever, but I'm not going to ride them necessarily to go do it. I don't know if your son's like this. My son, whatever, you could ask him, what's your favorite sport? It's whatever season he's in, right then and there,
Yeah.
But I don't want them to lose focus, and we're getting towards the end. We're in high school now.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, if he comes to me and say, hey, listen, I want to go shoot some hoops, I want to go hit golf balls, he's into that. I mean, anytime you ask, if I'm not doing something, I will try to do it with you. You know what I mean? My daughter and I were outside the other night. It was dark out. I had to put my spotlight on. She wanted to go out and hit the volleyball.
Yeah.
Volleyball. So I was out there with her.
Are you any good at doing it? What do you do?
She
do you
makes
throw it?
Yeah, she's doing this thing. You have to hit it down to her. So I'm like hitting it down. She's like, Dad, you're hitting it too hard. But we're out there in the dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's so anytime. I'll go out with them if they want to go out. It's the same thing. You're exactly right. Whatever just like anything you do. You know what I mean? Whatever you put into it.
Yeah.
Is what you're going to get out of it,
But you don't want to hear the tears if you're not putting it in. Like, don't become crying to me about
you're not
whatever.
Playing the minutes you want. You know what I mean? You're not happy with it, then you got to do something about it. So.
Right.
Yeah. So. Just like anything in life, right?
Well, it is. It's just, but
it's a fine balance. It's a balance, Greg. It's a balance.
It is. But I think you can use sports to teach you your whole life in a way. Don't you? Do you agree?
There's no doubt about it. He played travel baseball up until this last year. I'll tell you what, he played for the Pittsburgh Diamond Dogs. That was one of the best things that he's ever done, that program has ever done for my kid in particular, for Bryce. It was just about, discipline, having the right stuff, having the right uniform. You don't show up in the right uniform, you don't play. I mean, that's how, you know what I mean? You're not wearing the elbow pads and all the sleeves and, the face guard on the helmet. When you come, you have a helmet, you have your glove, you know what I mean? You're dressed, everyone's dressed the exact same. You know what I mean? Your shirt's tucked in, you don't have a belt on, like you don't play. Like so
it was discipline.
Yeah, total discipline. And you know what I mean? So just being ready for practice or games you don't have a hat, you don't play. Like it was, so that was real good because how they run their program was perfect for my kid, you know what I mean? And
Well, let's face it. I think it's
I mean,
good for
so-
any of
so-
us in some of these school programs where this is politics. Hey, this is the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
kind of like that takes that away a little bit, and hey man, this is what we expect of you.
Yep.
There's no exception that you don't get just because your dad is somebody, your mother is somebody, or something like that, like your best friend. But yeah, that's great. That is definitely great.
So yeah, it's helped him a lot in particular. So, but yeah.
Well, last question.
Oh boy.
Why is it oh boy?
Well, because you probably saved the best for last, I'm sure.
Well, no. I want everybody to see what makes you tick.
What makes me tick?
All right. So I wanted them to see, yeah, you were a soccer player. I know you come from this, your drive or whatever. And we just had this little argument, a little banter back and forth about where you were from.
Right. Oh.
Tell everybody, if you don't mind,
Mm-hmm.
how the heck you got here.
Oh boy, that's a long.
Where are you from? How did you get here? Because, and I'm complimenting you. Because most people in our area, in your profession, do well because they're born and raised here and they have those relationships. So I am telling you, this is a compliment to you, that not being here, you're doing pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's ironic you say that. So the funny thing about it, so I grew up in a little town outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, which is outside of Philadelphia, in a little town called Robizonia.
And I said you're basically from Jersey, but I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I'm far away from Jersey, and that's what our argument was about. So that's where I grew up.
Okay.
That's where I'm from. I grew up. I was, as you know, I was explaining to you, my father was in the retail business. He owned grocery stores, and then he sold his grocery stores, and he got his real estate license, and that's how I got into real estate, because of my father. I was actually out of college. I was actually a juvenile probation officer, believe it or not. I don't know if you ever knew that one, but yeah. So yeah, I was chasing kids on juvenile probation, and what happened, and I'll tell you the quick story how I got into real estate and how I got here. But I was a probation officer. Actually, one of my kids that I was looking for was on the run, and I couldn't find him, and he actually robbed the store and killed a couple people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then that kind of put me over the edge, and then we started getting guns and bulletproof vests, and I'm like, well, I'm not really into this for that, you know what I mean? Like, it got real dangerous. Reading actually was one of the, at the time, and I still think it is.
You're still in Reading at this point.
Yeah, still in Reading. It's
okay.
Out of college is one of my first jobs. I used to be a social worker, then I took this job as a probation officer. And actually, Reading was one of the highest per capita, like crime per capita, like top 10 in the.
You didn't resemble that before you got into this?
Well, it was dangerous, but it got worse, you know, obviously. Yeah. And then I remember going home. I called my dad. I'm like, listen, I can't do this anymore. You know, obviously for what I just told you. And he's like, well, why don't you get your real estate license? So that's what I did. So I got my license in 1996. I was in Reading. Really, never. And here's the thing: you say that I'm not from here. So I was in Reading, Pennsylvania. Never really. I got my license in 1996, but really, and my dad started training me, but I never really sold real estate full time where I grew up.
Okay.
So what I did was I actually just needed a change. After that happened, I got my real estate license, and then off of Whim, I moved to Ocean City, Maryland, where my cousin was my cousin, who's now, she passed away.
How old are you at this
I'm oh gosh, I don't even remember how old I was. I'm probably in my late 20s, 28, 29 years old. And she was doing real estate down there, so I decided to move from Reading, Pennsylvania to Ocean City, Maryland, when I didn't know anybody at all except for my cousin. So I started real estate in Ocean City, Maryland, full time down there, and she kind of trained me, and I did a lot of my own training, and my first year down there in the business, I was so disciplined because in Ocean City, Maryland, you gotta remember, that's a resort town, okay?
It is.
So everyone that's down there, you know what I mean, it's kind of like the kids that graduated from college, right? And they kind of get stuck there.
Yeah.
That are bartending and just kind of doing their thing. So it was very hard, like.
Yeah, some of them never move on.
Some never move on. That's exactly right. That's a good way to put it. So they just kind of get stuck there. Where I was there trying to, like, work and make money and do business. And I was so worried about getting caught up in that lifestyle,
Yeah.
if you will.
Because it was fun, wasn't it? It was fun.
It was definitely fun. There's no doubt about it. But I was so worried about it that I remember in the first year I was in the business, and this is no lie, I probably went to the beach maybe twice the whole time I was there in the first year, because I was so focused on doing open houses every Saturday. I used to do open houses, 2 open houses on Saturday from 10 to 12, and then 1 to 3. Then Sunday, same thing, 10 to 12, 1 to 3, because that's when you did them, because it's a resort town. Everybody was in and out on the weekends.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was so disciplined. So the first year down there, I was rookie of the year. I got rookie coastal, like the Coastal Association of Realtors down there. I worked for Prudential Carruthers, which was a great company. Rookie of the year. Then I actually teamed up with somebody there. That's where I met my wife. My wife is from Pittsburgh, PA. Both my kids, my wife and I got married.
Wait. Is your wife from Pittsburgh?
Well, she's from Hopewell Township.
Okay, that's not Pittsburgh.
Whatever.
Come on. Let's
So
get
Hopewell Township. And, and so what happened was both my kids were born in Ocean City, Maryland, and then she wanted to come back to be closer to family.
Makes sense.
So I moved I was doing real estate, I think I was in my 11th year down in Ocean City, doing actually pretty well.
All right.
Moved here. So I've never really sold. We're in an area, so I went to Ocean City, didn't know anybody there, and when I moved here, all I really had is our wedding list to go from. So I started all over, and that's when they hired me as the director of training.
I love that you just said you used the wedding list. I mean, that's brilliant, though.
Well, I used my wedding list. That's
you
how I started.
are very resourceful, though.
But it's funny, when I had that interview up here, I was interviewing for the owner of Prudential, knew Ron Krauscher. Ron Krauscher was the owner of Prudential Preferred at the time up here.
Yes.
And I was interviewing actually for a management position, believe it or not.
I believe it.
Yeah, but I sat with the manager and the owner and the CEO of the company. I sat there for 5 minutes. He's like, "You can't be a manager. You have too much energy. You need to go into sales." So that's what I did. So I went back into sales. Before I did, I took a job as a photocopier salesman, and then I was also worked for Miranda Homes for a little bit. And So I came home one day from I think it was Canon for sale. I told my wife, I said, "Listen, I can't do this anymore. I'm going back into real estate," and that's what I did. So that was probably about 12 years ago too. Now 12, 13 years ago. So here we are. That's how I came. I'm
just saying, like,
but not knowing anybody, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That's why that was.
Take that as a compliment.
I appreciate that. Because it was. I always wondered what would happen if I'd sell my hometown.
Well, but you wouldn't have your wife. You wouldn't have these kids. You wouldn't have this great life. You wouldn't have Brad. You wouldn't have
that's right.
Adam. You wouldn't have Sandy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, everything happens for a reason. And, well, I just want to leave with this. Due to our conversation that we had before this, 24 is going to be a good year for us. Okay?
I think so. I think it's just a little bit of a slower start.
It's going to be a good year. Whether the market wants to participate with us or not, we're going to beat this market. And this market is going to be better. We're going to have a good year, okay?
Yeah, my dad always used to say the cream rises to the top. Right?
That's
so
right. So this might be...
grind. He's got to grind, so it is what it is.
It is. All right. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. See ya.